Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 8 is officially here, and we got some clarifications on what the actual translations were, so let's take a look. Now, if you do not want spoilers, back out right now. The chapter starts off with a picture of a rock. Yes, a picture of a rock. Take into account this is Cross telling Yuka the story of what happened in his past, and he says the village where my brother and I grew up was razed by the government, and the word raze means completely destroy, so their village was completely destroyed by the government. Then he says his parents resisted until the very last moment where they were crushed with the rubble in their house. And he says that as his father died, he was clutching what Cross thought was an ordinary rock. And he says his dad was holding it like it was the most precious treasure in the world. He adds on, to this day he still wonders if it was nothing more than that. Then on the next page we get two people talking and some old dude is like, please Dura. And this is a ChatGPT replica of Dura. If you watched my leaks video, he's the long-haired dude that reminded me of like Super Saiyan 3 Goku with like Ultra Instinct. And Dura is talking to an old guy, and the old guy is begging him to take care of these two children, and he really does not want to. And they're talking about these two kids, and they're like, hey, if they send them back to the work camp, the people there will want nothing more than at least one of their hands cut off because they've been stealing. Not stealing just anything, stealing food because it is not very abundant at the moment. Then we get introduced to the adorable Kid Maru and Kid Cross, and Dura's like, wait, there's two of them? And the old man's like, if you recall, I said they. Maru and Cross go to attack Dura, and Dura just slaps him into the wall, and that's that. Dura tells him, hey, at least you got a lot of energy. I'm working on a canal right now, so you guys can come work with me. Adding in, you guys won't get paid though. Then it pans over to the work site, and we find out that Dura has been building this canal all by himself. He tells Maru and Cross, I'm gonna keep digging, you guys start picking up these rocks and putting them into these cages. And the cages of rocks, they're meant to be like the walls that help like reinforce the sides so they don't collapse and flood other areas. So kind of like small little retainment walls. Dura tells Cross and Maru, do not touch these rocks up here though, but put the other ones around here in the cages. Dura's then talking to somebody while Maru and Cross are putting the rocks away. And he's like, I can't believe these are the same two kids. I guess you just gotta rough them up a little bit to get them to work right. Then the next page, Maru and Cross, they're exhausted, so they are lying on the ground, and Dura's like, hey, I thought I told you guys you had a job to do. Dura then sees the reason why they're exhausted, because they cannot move this giant boulder. Dura then tells them to stand back, and he just gives it one good poof. And next thing you know, the rock explodes, and Maru and Cross are shocked, like, this is some power. Then it pans to Maru, Cross, and Dura taking a break, like eating some bread rations. Maru asks Dura, why are you building some dumb old canal anyways? Then it shows a shipping route kind of like this one, and Dura's like, well, you see, without the canal, we got to go all the way around. But if we have the canal, we can cut straight through the land, cutting down sailing time. Maru says, oh, I get you now, and then Cross goes, but why? Cross is not vibing with this idea at all. And he says, why should us Romelians do something that benefits the Discante? And these are just the names of like the different types of people there, like different tribes. Dura keeps a calm demeanor and says, well, the canal was supposed to be built a long time ago, but... Then Cross interrupts and says, Callians, question mark. And this is like ChatGPT's version of what a Callian looks like. I uploaded the manga panel and this is what it gave me. Dura starts explaining, there were beasts that were very sacred to our people, the Romelians, they were called Callians. But all the other villages suggested that we should get rid of the Callians and eliminate them. Cross adds in, and when we refused, we were kicked out of our village and our parents were killed. He says, we understood why they wanted to get rid of the Callians because they attacked anybody that was not Romelian. Dura then explains the whole place where the canal was going to be built was the Callians' habitat, so it's not that we have to build this canal, but we are the only ones that will. One of them says, I'm assuming it's Cross, the Discante forced us here to this barren land where barely any crops can grow. Dura sounds like a philosopher here. He says, because even if they hurt us, we can't hurt them back. Because if Rumel doesn't change, the Discante never will. He continues, in order for people with no land shared or blood ties to coexist peacefully, we need love and time. Adding, once the canal is finished, he's going to run water from the Rumel River through the villages. They can have a steady supply of clean water and also grow their crops. He believes with a steady supply of clean water, the children won't be getting sick as much. Then on the next page, it's Maru and Dura, and Maru says, I wonder if Cross is going to show up today. Dura adds in, it's not that Cross's way of thinking was wrong because a lot of people feel that way and that's why I'm building this canal all by myself. Cross is then seen standing on a ledge above them and Maru points forward to where the canal was being built and he says, look, somebody destroyed all their progress so far, like all the rock cages and everything, it's just debris lying around now. Maru insists that it wasn't Cross, and Dura understands. He's like, I knew there were a lot of people that disagreed with what I'm doing here, so it was probably just some punks who did it anyways, just to spite me. Maru says, are we gonna go after him? And Dura says, no, it would just be a waste of time. Let's get back to work and like make the progress back up. Then it pans over to like a camp sort of like this, and there's some dudes sitting inside. Some people are sitting around like hitting a hookah saying, I can't believe he's sucking up to the Discante, it makes me sick. Then they say it'll be easier for us to destroy his progress so far than it is for him to rebuild it. And it shows Cross walking into the tent, and he's like, yeah, Dura is pretty stupid, and he goes, boom, right to the guy's face who was talking crap about destroying it. And it pans back to the canal where Maru and Dura are working, and he's like, hey, Cross, you're back. And Cross is kind of like thinking as he starts working, he's like, didn't want you to think I was like them. In the next page, it's a bunch of people sitting around and Dura's there, and it says, the Council of Elders has finally agreed to work on the canal. The whole village will come together to help with the canal's progress. And it pans over to Dura, and he's like, Jabaloma, I knew you would come through, bro. If you don't remember, Jabaloma was like one of the toe-headed looking people. Jabaloma tells Dura, hey, you never do things in the right order, you know that, right? Adding on still, the council never would have done anything if you had not started working by yourself. Then on the next page, it pans over to Cross, and he is bowing his head and apologizing, and he says, I am sorry that I punched you. Thank you for deciding to cooperate with us. The dude he's apologizing to is the dude inside one of these tents, and the dude he originally punched says, yeah, same here. Next page, it shows everybody working together, and Cross looks at Dura and he's like, I understand now. Then it shows the completion of the big canal. In the next page, they have a giant boat, kind of like this one, sitting inside the canal. This is a happy, very joyous time. In the next page, it pans back to kind of like these tents, but this time everybody's inside. And someone says, we have received a request from the Discante. They would like permission to build a port halfway through the canal, where more ships can dock and rest. One of the people gets upset and they're like, see, they're already getting cocky. Dura keeps that calm composure and he goes, what do you mean? They're funding this, covering all the costs, and we'll end up making money because of it. In turn, this will boost Rumul's economy. One of the guys goes, does that mean? And Dura says, yes, Discante and Rumul will begin trades again. And everyone begins celebrating, but in the midst of all the celebration, Cross is just kind of looking blank-faced, thinking to himself, he goes, we lost our parents because of the isolationist policies that the Discante forced us into. Jabaloma's daughter even died because of these policies. Still thinking to himself, he says, but I've never seen him get angry or consumed by hatred. I'm sure he struggled because of the pain, wondering why it was his daughter who had to die, and for not being consumed by hatred, I respect Jabaloma for that. All the people at the tent are still celebrating and they're super happy. Over the top of the celebration, we get the text, when you start at the bottom, all you can do is crawl up. I thought things were finally starting to change for the better. But then, one day, Callian mauled the daughter of a Discante chief to death. And that is where our chapter ends. So we got a lot of information about Cross and Maru's past and kind of like their homeworld, what was going on. Mind you, this is being told from Cross's perspective to Yuka. And personally, I can't wait for chapter 9 because I love informational chapters like this and I want to see where it goes. Dakutami Sensei's comment for this week was, someone recommending 10 Tomo Niari during my previous serialization is what started it all, and it is this book right here, Providence Was With Us, How a Japanese Doctor Turned the Afghan Desert Green. Miyamura went into a little more detail. He said, it seems Gege was inspired / motivated to write Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo after reading the book Providence Was With Us. It's a biography of Nakamura Tetsu, a Japanese doctor who carried out relief work for 35 long years amid the civil war, bombings, and drought in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Overall, very interesting. Let me know your guys' thoughts on all of this down in the comments. Peace.